So again, my name is Donna. I'm going to talk today a little bit about financial aid first, and then we're going to move into degree progression, so a little bit different subject after financial aid. So first things first, our office is located in 110 Old Main. We're on the first floor. Come see us if you have questions. Check out our website. If you need any information, feel free to email or call our office too. So some basics about financial aid. What is financial aid? Lots of times students will say to me, I didn't receive financial aid, and they received a student loan. Well, student loans, scholarships, non-resident tuition waiver, grants, all of those are considered forms of financial aid. They're any kind of resource that helps you pay for your education. What's important to recognize when you receive a financial aid award offer is which ones are considered gift money and which ones are considered self-help money. Because if you receive grant money or you're receiving scholarships, that's great. That's money you don't have to pay back. If you're being offered student loans, you should think critically about how much you need and how much you're taking, because that's money you have to pay back someday. So there's a big difference between those types of aid. Another thing I just want to recommend to everybody is when you receive a financial aid award offer, if you get it and you look at it and it feels confusing to you and you don't understand all of the different things that are on it, you're not sure, how much do I need? Should I take this over this? Come in and talk to us. That's what we're there for. We'll sit down, we'll go through it with you, we'll look at your bill, and we'll try to help you make sure that you're informed enough to make those decisions for yourself. How do I apply for financial aid? Everyone should, if they're applying for financial aid, have filed a FAFSA. You go to fafsa.gov to do that. You want to be sure you're at the government's website. If you just Google FAFSA, it's going to pop up fafsa.com, and they're going to ask you for money to ask you the same questions that fafsa.gov does, and then they're going to turn around and plug it into fafsa.gov for you. For, I think last time I checked, it was $93 or something. So you want to be sure you're at the government's website. The first F in FAFSA stands for free. It's a free application. You want to make sure you're at the right spot. You need to file every year for the upcoming academic year. Our priority deadline at UW Superior is March 15th. So we recommend that you file your FAFSA no later than March 1st in order to meet that deadline, in case there's some additional information we need from you before we can get you awarded aid. So I know that you're all thinking about this year right now. You're thinking about your current spring bill and any financial aid right now, but really we're in the time frame when you all should be thinking really hard about working, if you're a dependent student, with your parents or independent on your own, to get your FAFSA filed for next year. This is the time frame when you should be filing your 2015-16 FAFSA, and you want to try and meet that March 15th deadline if you can. So you've all got something you need to be doing here in the next month. Be sure to contact our office if you have questions. And I didn't put this on there, but we will be promoting on campus. We're offering a community event on February 21st. It's a Saturday. It'll be held at Superior Senior High School in the computer lab, and it's a FAFSA completion event. So if you want help filing your FAFSA, you can just show up there 2 o'clock that day. I'll be there. I think Jenny in the back of the room, who works in the financial aid office, will also be there. There will be other folks there to sit down and help you file your FAFSAs. So if you're so inclined, you want to come that day, and we are giving away a scholarship at that event also. So think about doing that. We're giving away 1 scholarship for that site. There will be 30 College Goal Wisconsin events going on across the state of Wisconsin. So there will be a $1,000 scholarship given away at every site. So $30,000 will be given away across the state of Wisconsin. So think about coming. It's a good event. Once you file your FAFSA, you want to follow up with our office and comply with any sort of requests. Some students are selected for verification, have to provide additional documentation. You want to be sure that you follow up with that in a timely manner so you can get a financial aid award offer as early as possible. Apply for scholarships separately. So I'm hoping you're all aware, but as continuing students, you all should be applying for UW Superior Foundation scholarships between now and they are due on March 6th, I believe, is Friday. So whatever your major is, you should go to your department and fill out a foundation scholarship application and submit it to your department. Every department on campus has foundation funds to award to students in their area. If you're undeclared and you don't have a major, then you can apply through the Dean of Students office. And if you have financial aid currently and are receiving grant money or have any financial need in your financial aid award, you can also separately apply for a UW Superior Foundation scholarship through the financial aid office. So everyone in this room should be doing 2 foundation applications. One with financial aid if you've got financial aid, and one either with your department or the Dean of Students office if you're undeclared. You can get the scholarship right online. There's a link to it from the financial aid office website. There's a link to it from the foundation office website. And I think most departments even have a link off of their site too. You have to submit them to your department once you've filled them out. If you're receiving any outside scholarships, you need to be sure to let our office know so that it can be worked into your financial aid award for the upcoming academic year. Moving into how do I receive my financial aid? So you filed your FAFSA, you've applied for scholarships, you're all ready to go. You will need to, and you've probably already done this for this year, but just a reminder, go in and accept or decline the aid that's been offered to you. Again, if you have questions about what you think you need or you don't understand, you're going to want to come into our office and have us help you with that. But you can do all of that yourself on your Student Center. Log into your Student Center, click on View Financial Aid, and you'll be able to accept or decline there. The instructions will be with your financial aid award notice when you receive that. If you're borrowing a student loan through the Department of Education for the first time, you'll need to complete a master promissory note and do loan entrance counseling. Once you do those, they're good for 10 years, so you won't have to do them again. If you opt to take out a Perkins loan, you will need to complete a master promissory note for a Perkins loan every single year. So every time you'll need to do that. When we package you for financial aid, we base it on you being a full-time student, and Charlie kind of alluded to this already. So you're going to get your financial aid award notice, and it's going to say enrollment status for fall and for spring, and it'll say full-time. Your financial aid will not disperse and go toward your bill if you're not full-time. So it's important that you either register for full-time, or if full-time doesn't work for you that semester and you're not planning to be full-time, that's okay. Register in what you need, but then you need to let our office know so we can revise your financial aid award so that it does disperse at the proper credit load. And some types of aid are affected by your enrollment status. For example, if you're receiving a Pell Grant, you receive more Pell Grant as a full-time student than as a 3/4 time student or a half-time student. So we have to revise your award accordingly. So it's really important to keep us apprised if you decide to register for anything other than full-time. One other important thing, say you're selected for verification or your loans haven't dispersed yet because you haven't completed your master promissory note or loan entrance counseling. After you file a FAFSA, at least 30% of all applicants get selected for verification. So the Department of Ed goes in and they choose individuals for verification. And what that means is at the institution, we're required to verify that everything you put on your FAFSA, or most of the things that you put on your FAFSA, are accurate. Okay? So what we end up doing is we send you a worksheet, and we ask either for your tax transcripts and your parents' tax transcripts from the year before, or if when you filed your FAFSA you use the data retrieval tool with the IRS, you won't have to provide tax transcripts, so that's a good reason to use the IRS data retrieval tool when you're filing. You'll complete that verification, you'll submit those documents to us, we complete that verification process, and it does usually take a couple weeks for us to get through that information at least. So keep in mind there's a little bit of a time lag. Then we can get you a financial aid award notice. If you've not received a financial aid award notice yet, you need to follow up with our office and find out what it is that we still need. Or go back to your student center and check your to-do list, because we'll put a to-do item out there. When you log into your student center, in the upper right-hand corner, there's something called a to-do list. If our office needs something from you, generally, we put something on your to-do list. So if there's something listed there, it probably means you have something to do, that's why it's called a to-do list, with our office. So it's really important to pay attention to those things. They're reminders. You can click on them and get further information about what exactly you need to do. They're active links. Your aid's not going to disperse if you're selected for verification, because you generally don't even have a financial aid award offer yet. Sometimes you'll have an offer and then get selected for verification after the fact, which is sometimes kind of unfortunate, but it does happen, especially if you go back and make a change to your FAFSA, and that will prevent us from dispersing any future funds until you complete that process. So it's really important, if you're selected or our office is requesting information from you, that you follow up in a timely manner. Okay, so then what happens with my aid? Well, most types of financial aid will disperse and direct credit toward your bill. And we do disperse funds generally before classes begin, up to 10 days before the start up of school. If you have accepted your aid, you've done your promissory note, your entrance counseling, you're registered in the right amount of credits, and you're all ready to go, it should disperse. That financial aid will do one of two things. It will, when it direct credits to your account, it will either pay for your bill in full, it'll be enough to pay your bill, and you'll end up receiving a refund, or it won't pay the entire bill, and then you're responsible for the difference. Okay, so one of those two things will happen. If you're receiving a refund, before school begins, you'll get a Hire One card.
And you all should have a Hire One card. So if you don't, you're going to want to contact me, and I'll make sure you get one. Otherwise, you should all know about Hire One already, major refund preference, and you're all set. So if anybody hasn't, then just contact me tomorrow.
Yep. If you lose your Hire One card, you need anything regarding Hire One, you have questions, Charlie's office, Charlie specifically, is the one you want to talk to. Ha. If you have made a refund preference, maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, and you chose to open an account with Hire One, and now you're thinking, you know, I just want to direct deposit into my own personal bank account, or vice versa, you can make a change to that refund preference anytime also. So keep that in mind, that you're not stuck with the choice you made initially. If you want to make a change, that's just fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that just online you can change that, or?
Yes, so you would log into Hire One with your UW Superior email, your password that you set up, and you're going to click on Refunds and Refund Preferences on the top. It's pretty simple. And if you got any questions, give me a call. I'll walk you through it.
Okay.
The last thing I want to talk about is, and Charlie touched on this a little bit too, but what if I'm not getting enough to meet my needs? So if that's the case, so you get your financial aid award offer, and you look at your bill and you go, you know, I don't have enough here. I either don't have enough to cover my bill, or I've got just enough to cover my bill and I need a little refund for some other living expenses, and I don't have enough. What can I do? Well, the very first thing you can do is come into our office and talk to us about it. Because usually, for most students, there's a few other options that might be available that we haven't talked about yet. One is alternative loans through a banking institution, and we can at least direct you to a resource to begin to explore those. Another, if you're a dependent student, is potentially a Parent Plus loan that might be available that your parents can borrow on your behalf. Or if they attempt to borrow and they have poor credit and can't get a PLUS loan, then there's some additional lending opportunities for you as the student through the Department of Education. So usually there's at least something else that you can try to do to supplement your financial aid award offer if you're not getting enough. Couple other things I want to mention quick. One is if something financially changes for you or your family, your parents, if you have to list parents on your FAFSA, say a parent loses a job or passes away, or your parents become separated or divorced, or same thing happens to you. You're an independent student, you're married, you become separated from your spouse. Well, you've reported a financial situation from the prior year on your FAFSA that was accurate at the time you filed your FAFSA. You don't get to go back and update that. What you can do is work with our office and let us know about these changes. We'll collect some documentation about those changes, and not in every case, but in some cases, we can modify your financial aid award to accommodate those additional changes in income that you've had or your family has had. The problem with that is we can't do it if we don't know about it. And we're not going to know about it if you don't come in and chat with us about that and be forthright about what's occurred and offer up the documentation we need in order to be able to do that. So just keep that in mind. If you've had a major income change in the family or household change, come in and talk to us about that because we might be able to help you with it. The other thing that you can do for yourself, and you're in a prime time to plan this out right now for next year, is two things. File earlier to get the best financial aid award package possible. So try to meet that March 15th priority deadline. If you're a high needs student, there are certain types of aid that do run out. If you can meet that deadline and you qualify for them, you'll get them. You'll get a better financial aid award package than you will a month or 2 months or 5 months later. The other thing that you want to do is apply for scholarships. And again, there's a link on our website for outside scholarships, but definitely as continuing UW Superior students, you want to be applying for scholarships for next year through the UW Superior Foundation and the Financial Aid Office. Her question is, if I'm going to file my FAFSA and I have my taxes done and I'm all ready to go, but my parent hasn't filed their taxes yet. And the filing deadline for taxes, we all know, is until April 15th, and lots of people wait until the end to file their taxes, and sometimes even get an extension beyond that. If that's the case, and you're trying to meet a priority deadline, you may file your FAFSA with estimated information. So you can use the prior year, in this case, instead of using 2014 tax information for your father, you could use 2013. But when he does file his taxes, you need to go in and either correct the information, because probably you're not going to be right on, or use the data retrieval tool. And that way you can meet the priority deadline. Now, the catch to that, however, is if you're selected for verification, you need to have a complete file in our office for us to guarantee those early funds. So if you're in that 30% pool that gets selected for verification, it's possible you might not meet the deadline.